Hello everyone, welcome back to Let's Play The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. You might notice that we have a few more rupees, I think anyway, than we did at the end of the last episode, and that is because I forgot to save after I completed the last episode, and in fact, it's actually a little bit difficult to save in this game, but I don't want to get into the saving mechanics quite yet, because it is a little bit of a spoiler. But speaking of time, I didn't speak of time. That is part of the spoiler that I didn't even want to mention. It is almost nighttime on the first day. We need to get in here and do this minigame because we have to play it on day 1, 2, and 3 to be able to get an item from the minigame here. I don't know if it's really a spoiler to say what item you're gonna get, but we have to complete this before, I think it's only active during the daytime. So we're gonna go ahead and talk to this guy here. He says the young one can play, and obviously since it kind of involves the Deku Flowers, you can only play this game as a Deku Flower and it costs 10 rupees. Now, it's a very easy game on the first. I didn't mean to skip all of that. I was going to kind of explain it as I went through it. But the best time for today's game is 1 minute and 15 seconds. I was about to say $1.15. I don't know how that would have worked in there. But we have to get all of the rupees. I'm not sure if you have to get them all before the time. I would imagine you have to. I was going to say, I'm not sure if you have to just get them all or if you also have to beat the timer that they gave you, 1 minute and 15 seconds. In any case, this is a very easy minigame, especially on day 1, because all these platforms with the Deku Flowers on them only go straight up and down in the air, and unless you really mess it up, you really try pretty hard, you're probably not going to mess anything up. And I love how Night of the First Day pops its head in there right as I was about to, I guess not about to finish the minigame. I don't think that'll mess anything up. As far as completing the first round of the minigame, my only worry is that if I don't get it on the first try, then I won't be able to try again, because if you come in this room when it's too late, they will say something along the lines of, basically, it's nighttime, you can't play the minigame right now. So I think if I get this one last rupee over here, I do believe that that is the final rupee. If we just launch from the highest point, we should be just fine. And we get a purple rupee, which is worth 50 rupees. Our face is beaming. I can't really tell. Our face didn't look too much different. But the purple rupees in this game, of course, are worth, as you saw, 50 rupees. The silver rupees are also worth 50 rupees. So I'm not really sure why they have two different color rupees that are worth exactly the same amount. I always thought that was a little bit strange. But the good thing about that is now we have 76 rupees, which is enough. Actually, you probably had enough before that. But we had enough to come and I was going to talk to Tingle, but apparently he only shows up in the daytime. So I guess we're not going to talk to him right now. On the other hand, we do need to talk to Jim here. So let's go ahead and see what this kid in the red cap has to say.
Huh?
What do you want, Shrimp? I'm busy practicing with my blowgun. If you can't pop that balloon, then don't mess with Jim. Grr. So, before we talk to Jim, we actually have to prove ourselves by throwing the bubble. And before I do that, I don't think I explained this in the last episode. You can actually shoot magic bubbles. We did get magic in the last episode, but I forgot to show it. I don't want to waste too much more magic, though, so let's go ahead and pop this Majora's Mask balloon up here, and apparently my own snot bubble will pop before I get the chance. Are you the one who just popped that up there? Not bad for a Deku-Scrub. We bombers have a hideout that leads to the Observatory outside town. You need a code to get in. Maybe I'll tell you what it is. But don't think you're getting it that easily. I can't just tell you what the code is. You'll have to pass my test first. Are you ready? Of course we're ready. This sounds like a little bit of a quest we're going to have to go on. Fortunately, it's not going to take that long. But I always do that. I don't expect, when I press the B button, I don't expect it to skip all of the text at once. I just expect it usually to show all of the text on that one screen, if that makes any sense whatsoever. Anyway, what we have to do is catch all 5 of the bombers before daytime, and this guy is kind of creeping over here. I forgot he was going to be there. That actually kind of surprised me a little bit. Now over here we have Jim. I don't know where he went. There he is. The good thing is sometimes they will go into another area of the town as far as kind of like this is what I was going to show you. They will get trapped in the passageway, and I didn't execute there, but you can usually get them fairly easily when they do that. And Jim is not playing along here. If it gets too bad, okay, he's got himself stuck again, and there we go. I was gonna say, if it gets too bad, I might have to speed it up until I collect them, but they're not, like I said, they're not really too bad. Now, another thing I want to point out, I don't want to waste too much time, I'll just talk about it while I go to the next area. Sometimes in this game, actually all the time, the Z targeting works a little bit differently, it seems like, and luckily he ran off the roof there, so we don't have to fly up there to get him. But the Z targeting works a little bit differently in this game, in that it doesn't automatically point you in the direction that you're looking when you Z-target, if that makes any sense. And I'll show you what I mean after I'm done collecting all of the kids here. But it kind of makes it weird to turn around and instantly Z-target and like backwalk or whatever. Now here you can actually throw a snot bubble and knock the cuckoo. I completely messed it up, but just rest assured that you can knock the cuckoo out of his hand, or the cuckoo, or I always, that was one word in the original Ocarina of Time Let's Play that the pronunciation of that word was a little bit controversial. I cannot believe that that just happened. We're going to have to go back in there and get him. That's actually maybe not a bad thing, because I'll be able to show that you can shoot the bird out of his hand. I'll just avoid saying the word altogether. But yeah, that was one of the words that was kind of controversial in the first Ocarina of Time Let's Play. Everybody in the comments had a different pronunciation of that word. Let's see if we can go ahead and get it out of his hands this time. And there we go. I didn't think I got it. I don't think that really changes too much. Either way, he just falls off with the bird. I thought when I was a kid that he would fly away with it, but that doesn't actually happen. There we go. I didn't think we were actually going to be able to get him. Fortunately, there is only one left. Now, I want to hurry up and get him because something I just noticed, it's past midnight. Actually, now it's past 1 o'clock in the morning. At midnight in the hotel, which I don't think we've been in there yet, something happens in the hotel at midnight, and there's a lot of stuff we got to do before we go do that. So I want to get this done as quickly as possible, because at some point in the middle of the night, that event stops happening. And that's one thing I really like about this game. Everything is pretty much event-based, based on time. But here we have the final member of the Bombers organization. Now, you actually do have to be kind of ready to, or whenever you get this code, because they only actually do tell you one time, and it changes in between save files, even on the same cartridge. So it wouldn't really do you any good to write this down or anything, because if you play the game yourself, it will be different for you. But I have to remember 2, 1, 3, 4, 5, and we actually do have to put that to use pretty much right away, because we have to go into, like I think they mentioned it in that little bit of dialogue there, we have to go into the Observatory, and to do that, we actually have to go through this bomber over here, which for some reason, I guess he was lazy, he's not part of the hide-and-seek gang, I guess. Now, one thing you can actually do, I don't know if you can do it with the Deku-Scrub, I don't think you can, but you can backflip over this kid without having to. I think I actually almost had it there. I kind of want to try this again. Actually, I guess not. We're going to talk to him. But you can backflip over that kid right there. And actually, in 100% of speedruns, I do not believe that they even get the code for the Bombers, whatever, Secret Society of Justice and Forever, or whatever that kid just said right there. I believe they just jump over when they get back to our original form. I don't think, that's really a spoiler or anything, that we're actually not going to be a Deku for the rest of the game. We will eventually turn back into Human Link at some point, but like I said, in speedruns, I don't believe they actually even get the code. I think they just wait until they are human again and then just backflip over them. I think the Deku-Scrub, funnily enough, is the only one that is too short, whatever, to jump over them. But here we have another Majora's Mask balloon. I don't know why those are all over the place, but they do seem to be a fairly common, I was going to say objective, more, what is the word I'm looking for? Obstacle is probably the best way to put it. Down here we have a couple of pots, which always seem to me to have a lot of rupees in them, so I always usually get those when we come in here. And we have a Scarecrow, which I'm not going to talk to right now. I will talk to him later on, but right now I want to come up here and hurry up and maybe get this done so we can get back to the town before that event I talked about earlier goes away. Well, well, a strange-looking child has joined me today. Are you a new friend of the Bombers gang? Your manners seem much better than those of your mischievous friend from the other day. That ill-mannered troublemaker from the other day said he'd break my instruments. He said he'd steal my Moon's Tear. There's no stopping him. Even now, just watch him. He's probably causing trouble around the clock tower. Will I gaze into the telescope? Of course I will. Now, I've always really liked this part of the game because you can actually zoom in on the Skull Kid who's standing on top of the clock tower. I was going to show you a little bit of the surrounding area too, but I got a little bit overzealous, I guess, and instantly zoomed in on the Skull Kid up there. But the moon apparently has a mind of its own and cried, I guess, onto the ground right there, and that turned blue. It was orange when it was falling. I guess that was just the, heat upon re-entry or whatever. I don't know the Zelda science or anything, but we need to go get that moon's tear. And honestly now, I'm not really even sure that the rest of what he has to say is that important. Yeah, he's basically just saying that we need to go get the moon's tear and something will happen on the eve of the carnival, I should say. Now, one thing I want to try and ask you guys is if you would rather me talk during cutscenes, or if you'd rather me read them, or if you'd rather me just be completely silent. In the first episode of this Let's Play, there was the tiniest little tiny bit of controversy over reading dialogue, and that's something that I've always struggled with. It's always one of those issues that half the people that watch videos are like, no, don't read it, and then the other half is like, yeah, go ahead and read it. So it's always something I am not sure about, but I will go ahead and let you guys watch this cutscene little thing, and we're going to, I guess, speed this back up until we get into the town again. Alright, here we are back in South Clocktown. I was going to say Clocktown Town as if Clocktown was the name of the town, and I don't even know where I'm going with this anymore. But we did get the moon's tear. I'm going to go ahead and put that on the right C button. I guess it doesn't really matter which C button you put it on, but we need to go ahead and investigate this Gold Deku Flower, which I think this is the first Gold Deku Flower we've seen in the game. Wait, hang on! This is my private property. Don't try using it when I'm not around. Actually, I have something that I think he will want. Ah, that stone. You must hand it over to me. In exchange, I'll give you my spot here, Deku Flower included. Yes? That is exactly what we want, and we get the land title deed for that exchange, and we really helped him out. Every single time, I guess I'm going to accidentally skip every little bit of dialogue in the game. Fortunately, it's not something that is extremely important. It's just a little bit of flavor text, I guess. I've got to lay off the B button a little bit, have a little bit of trigger discipline, I guess. Like I said, I only expected to, skip to the end, so all of the text on that one screen is there, not to the very end of the entire, conversation. But anyway, here we are in a Gold Deku Flower, which if we use it, puts us way up in the air compared to a regular Deku Flower. And because we have this now, we can come get this heart piece, which we don't actually have to get right now, but it kind of, I guess we might as well get it just to demonstrate the gold flower. But apparently the clock tower door only opens once a year at midnight on the eve of the carnival, which I think the guy in the observatory kind of hinted at that, but we don't really have to worry about that now because we have like a whole day and a half before we're going to have to worry about the clock tower. But one thing I want to do is come back over into North Clocktown, and now that it is daytime, I want to go ahead and shoot some snot at Tingle here and get him down so we can buy something from him. What's this? Green clothes? White fairy. Sir, could you by chance be a forest fairy? Oh my. My name is Tingle. I think I am the same as you, sir, a forest fairy. Alas, though I am already age 35, no fairy has come to me yet. My father tells me to grow up and act my age, but why? I tell you, Tingle is the very reincarnation of a fairy. Now, while I stand here waiting for a fairy of my own, I sell maps to help out my father. Lucky, you're so lucky to have a fairy. I know, we should be friends. Yes, in exchange, I will sell you a map for cheap as a sign of my friendship. Will you buy one of Tingle's maps? Of course we will, but the thing to know about Tingle's maps is that usually the area that you're in, he will have a map for that area. For instance, we are in Clocktown right now, and he is selling the Clocktown map. He also is selling the Woodfall map, which you might notice is way more expensive than the Clocktown map. Usually he will sell the map for the next area we're going to be going to for way more expensive than you will be able to buy it when you actually go to that area. So if he's selling a map that looks suspiciously expensive, it's probably not worth it to buy it from him at that point because he will sell it later on. But there is Tingle and his magical magic words, or classic magic words, I guess. Tingle is one of those characters that is extremely strange, and I guess there's a lot of characters like that in Majora's Mask, but especially Tingle is one that fans of the game have really kind of put a lot of thought into. And I'm not going to go into the theories of Tingle right now. That could be like its own separate little video, I guess. But what we need to do now is, because it is day 2, we need to come back in here and play this mini game once again. Unfortunately, it's going to be a little bit harder because, as you can see, the pieces are moving side to side now instead of just straight up and down. So we're going to have to time our jumps just a little bit better. Thank goodness I got it on that try right there, because I'm pretty sure that if we had not gotten it right there, we would have been out of luck as far as getting the ultimate prize that we're going to get after we beat it for the 3rd time. That was actually a very scary moment for me right there. I thought that we were going to have to put getting off that heart piece. I'm just going to say it, because if I say that item one more time, I might just, lose my mind. But for beating it for the 3rd time, we're going to be getting a heart piece. I thought we were going to have to wait for a whole nother cycle, and I was going to have to do it way more times than I was going to want to. But speaking of heart pieces, if we look up here, there's actually a heart piece up there that you're not supposed to be able to get right now. I don't know if it's really worth it for me to try and get it right now, because we do have other things we could be doing. Well, I guess I'm not getting that right now. That trick is not that hard to do, but I have not practiced it whatsoever, so I'm not going to keep doing it, especially because it is almost midnight. Like I mentioned, I don't even remember when I mentioned this. I have to assume it was in this episode, but at midnight, there is something special that we can do in the hotel. Now, the hotel closes at some time around 11 o'clock, I believe. I don't remember exactly what time it closes. But to get back in, you can't go through the front door. You actually have to come up here by using that Deku Flower and go in the top door. I believe that the only way you can get into the hotel at nighttime is actually with the Deku form of Link, so that makes the Deku form of Link a little bit special. But this right here is probably one of the most weird parts of the entire game. Oh! He really needs paper, and just so happens that we have that title deed that we got from that Deku, so let's go ahead and give him that. Yay! Everything about that is just really, really weird, because first of all, why, if he is just using the toilet, is he actually in the toilet instead of just, sitting on top of it? Why is there no door for this bathroom? How come he couldn't just use the paper that was in this, book or whatever that is laying on the ground? I'm not even sure if that is a book. I don't even know what it is because the textures are such a low resolution. But on top of all that, why was there a piece of somebody's heart in the toilet? I have absolutely no idea. I think we need to go ahead and end it on that note right there. On the first 3-day cycle, there's not really that much to do. But in the next episode, I think because we're going to have quite a bit of time, that I might show off a couple of the most important features of the town, like the bank. I haven't really gotten into that too much, and we do have a fair bit of rupees, so that might be kind of useful. Also, there's some other stuff I need to do, like I need to beat that minigame for the 3rd time, and if it's anything like the 2nd time, I don't know if I'm going to be able to beat it, but I think that actually might just be it before we actually get to advance the plot for the final time, before we really get into the main game. But guys, I want to thank you for watching this episode of Let's Play The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, and I hope to see you guys back for the next episode.